we'll start with warm-ups anyway, so it's fine if people join a little bit late.
Perfect.
So morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm in a nice little sunspot here, so I'm just going to absorb the sun for a little bit. So we're going to start in a seated position. So you can either come into your normal easy pose where we just cross the legs. And again, if you find it more comfortable just to sit on the edge of a cushion, just to give you a little bit of a lift out of the hips, then you can do that. I'm going to give you an alternative seated position if you're a little bit bored of easy pose. This one's called Siddhasana. And what you do is you just bring either the left heel or the right heel, to choose which foot you want to bring in. So I'm going to bring the left heel in, and you're just bringing it in towards the pubic bone. So bring it in a little bit closer. And then you'll bring in the right leg in front. So you're stacking the right leg in front of the left leg. So the legs are a little bit flatter. And just make sure you're on the sit bones. But if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, then just come into your normal easy pose. Okay, just bring the hands, palms face down, or bring the backs of the hands onto the knees. And just find a little bit more length in your spine. Just allowing the crown of the head to grow nice and tall. And you're just allowing the shoulders to fall away from the ears. You can just gently close the eyes down. We're just going to give ourselves these first couple of moments just to center here on our mats. And we can do that just by becoming a little bit more present with our physical body. So just becoming aware of the sit bones grounding into the floor or into the cushion. And just see if you can begin to find a little bit more space in between each vertebrae. So we're just finding a little bit more length in the spine and creating a little bit more space in the upper body. And then I want you to bring your awareness to your face. So we tend to hold a lot of tension in our face, particularly in the jaws. So seeing if you can just release the lower jaw from the upper jaw. Just allow it to relax. And if you like, you can just move the lower jaw from side to side. It just helps to release any tension that we're holding in the jaw bones. You might hear some little clicky sounds. Just releasing air from the joints. And then just beginning to soften the cheeks, relaxing the eyes, softening the forehead. Just coming to find some stillness in your body. And then just slowly becoming aware of your breath. Just noticing how your breath is moving. And then seeing if you can take a nice deep inhale, breathing a little deeper into the belly, maybe expanding out into the rib cage, breathing all the way up into the shoulders, and maybe just sighing out through the mouth. With that 2 more times, just taking a nice deep inhale, just finding more space in the upper body, and just gently sighing out through the mouth. One last time, just filling the lungs, and sighing it all out on the exhale. And then we're just going to draw that right ear down to the right shoulder, just stretching out the left side of the neck. On the inhale, just coming all the way back up to our center. And then we're going to exhale the left ear down to the left shoulder. Inhaling all the way back up to center. And then we're going to exhale the chin down to the chest. So just stretching out the back of the neck. And then inhaling all the way back up to center. And just gently beginning to open the eyes. So we're going to bring the palms of the hands together at heart center, and we're going to interlace the fingers. And then I want you to turn the palms that are facing towards the camera. And then we've got a dog joining us there as well, great. And then pushing the palms out towards the front. So you're getting that nice stretch across the upper back, the back of the shoulders, keeping that nice length in the spine. And as you inhale, I want you to bring the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. So you're finding that length now in the side body, rooting down through the sit bones and growing tall up through the spine. And as you exhale, it's going to bend the elbows, bringing the backs of the hands to rest on the crown of the head. So we're just going to move to the rhythm of your own breath. So on the inhale, you're pushing up through the palms, finding that length. And on the exhale, just bending the elbows, allowing the backs of the hands to come down onto the head. So you don't have to go at the same time as me, just go at the same rhythm as your own breath. So in yoga, we're just trying to coordinate our movements with our breath. We'll do that one last time, and this time we'll all meet at the top. So just pressing out through those palms, finding that length in the arms. Lovely. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the palms down in front of you, so you're facing towards, palms of the hands towards your camera. And as you exhale, you're just going to bend the elbows, drawing the backs of the hands into the chest. So let me get that right. So it's inhale. No, so we're going to exhale to push out. So we're going to exhale to push out through the palms of the hands. And you're just finding that space across the upper back. And as you inhale, you're drawing in. So exhaling to push out. And inhaling to draw in. So just doing this a couple of times. Again, there's no rush. Just go into your own breath. Lovely. And we'll make this the last one. Just bringing the hands back into the chest and then bringing the palms of the hands together again. So the fingers are still interlaced. And we're just going to draw some circles with the wrists here. So we're going to give our wrists a little bit of love this morning because we ask our wrists a lot in our yoga practice, especially in our down dogs and our planks. So we're going to do some little wrist stretches today. And just bring those circles in the opposite direction. Lovely. And then release the hands, give the wrists a little shake. And I want you to bring the right hand out in front of you. So you're lengthening out through the arm. And then bring that left hand and just begin to bring the fingertips back. So just bring in the fingers back. So you're getting a little stretch across the front of the wrist there. Just taking some nice deep breaths here. Lovely. You're going to let go of the fingers now and just bend at the wrist so the fingers are pointing down. And just take hold of that hand with the left hand and you're very just gently drawing those fingers back. So you're getting a stretch now on the back of the wrist. Lovely. Releasing that hand, giving that right wrist a little shake. And we'll do that on the opposite side this time. So lengthen out through the left hand. We're going to take the fingertips of the left hand with the right hand. And you're just gently drawing those fingers back. So don't get forcing too much here. It's just a nice gentle stretch, opening the front of the wrist. And then releasing, pointing the fingers down, taking hold of the fingers with the right hand and just gently pulling them in towards the body. So you're just opening up now the back of the wrist. Lovely. Releasing that left wrist now, giving both wrists a little shake. I'm going to come into our tabletop now. So just coming onto all fours. You're going to draw the wrist creases underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. So just make sure when you look between the knees, you shouldn't go to the feet. So the feet are in line with the lower legs. If you do have any wrist issues and you find a little sore bit on the wrists, then you can either fold the top of your mat, or if you have got a little blanket handy, you can just fold the blanket and bring the hands onto the mat. So you want to make sure that all the fingers are nice and spread out. You're creating that nice L shape with the index finger and thumb. And I want you to press into the finger pads and the corners of the hands so that you're not dumping into the wrists. So we'll do some gentle wrist exercises here. So as we inhale, we're just going to slightly hinge forward over the wrists. So you're pressing a little bit more weight into the hands. But see if you can press into the finger pads and the corners of the hands. And on the exhale, you're just pulling back a little bit just to release the weight. So just doing that a couple of times. On the inhale, you're just drawing forward, pressing the weight into the palms a little bit more. And on the exhale, just drawing the hips back, so you're just releasing the pressure off the wrists. So inhaling to hinge forward. Exhaling to release. We'll do that one more time. So inhaling to come forward, just slightly hinging forward past the wrist creases. And on the exhale, just pulling back. Lovely. Now we're going to turn the hands now. So we're going to turn them out so that the fingertips are pointing to the outside edges of the mat. So the wrists are actually facing in towards each other. So the left fingertips are pointing out towards the left edge of the mat, right fingertips out towards the right edge of the mat. Inside of the wrists are facing each other. Again, lots of space between the fingers. And you're going to hinge over to the left this time. So you're pressing a little weight into the left hand. And then you're coming over to the right hand. So leaning over to the right, pressing the weight into the right palm. And then leaning over to the left, pressing into the finger pads, the corners of the hands. And then coming over to the right. Lovely. And we'll come back to our center now. So these are really subtle movements, but they're really strong stretches for the wrists. This one might be a little bit tricky for some people, but don't worry if you can't come into the full pose. So we're going to begin now to turn the fingers back towards the body, so that the wrists are pointing towards the top of your mat. So you might not be able to bring the hands all the way around, but just as far as you can. So the fingertips are now pointing towards the body, and the wrists are pointing towards the top of the mat. So already you're getting quite an intense stretch there across the front of the wrists. If that's enough for you, you're going to stay there. Just take a couple of breaths here. If you want to bring a little bit of movement in now, you're going to hinge forward. So just drawing the weight forward a little bit. And as you exhale, you're drawing the hips back just to release the pressure. And we'll just do that one more time. So you're hinging forward and then exhaling back to release. So again, if this is enough for you, you're going to stay here. If not, you're going to join me in a cat-cow stretch. So on the inhale, you're going to begin to draw the chin to sky, navel to earth. And as you exhale, beginning to tuck the chin into the chest, navel to spine. We'll do that one more time. As we inhale, releasing the belly down. Inhaling, chin to sky. And as we exhale, beginning to tuck the chin into the chest and draw the navel into the spine. And releasing all the way back down into our tabletop and slowly bringing one hand forward at a time, bringing those fingertips back now to face the top of the mat. And then we're going to sit back onto the heels and just interlace the fingers and just gently bring some circles now into the wrist. So that probably feels quite strong on the wrists now. They're really good stretches actually to practice at home in between doing your practice. It really helps to stretch the wrists and build up your wrist strength for your practice as well. So bringing those circles in the opposite direction and then giving the wrists a little shake. Lovely. So we're going to come back into our tabletop now. Again, making sure you've got lots of space in between the fingers, nice L shape with the index finger and thumb. And we're going to come into a balancing pose here. So just beginning to lengthen out through that right leg now. And you're pressing the ball of the right foot into the floor. And just beginning to open up through the back of the right knee. Finding that nice length in the back of the right leg. The next inhale, you're going to draw the right heel up so that the leg is in line with the body. And then we're going to lift that left palm. The left palm is facing down to the earth. So we're coming into our Superman pose or our Superwoman pose. And I want you to draw the navel into the spine just to engage the core. You're going to keep your gaze down at the top of the mat. And as you exhale, you're going to bring that left hand out to the left corner of the room and the right heel out to the right corner of the room. So the leg and the arm are diagonal. You're going to inhale to come back to your center. You're going to exhale to reach out to the corners of the room. Inhaling to come back to your center. One last time, exhaling out to the corners. And then releasing back to your center. Releasing that left hand down, the right knee down. I'm going to come into some tabletop circles just to release the joints. So as you inhale, you're hinging forward over the wrist creases. You're leaning over to the right, drawing those hips all the way back over the heels and then over to the left. So nice fluid movements. Take this nice and slow. Maybe just tuning in to where you have any tight spots. And then bringing those circles all the way around in the opposite direction. This is a really nice one just to warm up all the joints, getting into the wrists and the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles, again, a nice stretch as well. Lovely, and we'll meet back in our center again then, and we'll do that balancing pose on the opposite side this time. So now we're going to lengthen out through that left leg. So we're pressing the ball of the foot into the floor, just finding that stretch and length in the back of the left leg. As you inhale, you're going to lift that left foot off the floor, so the leg's in line with the body, and you're pressing out to the heels, the toes are pointing down to the floor. You're going to lift that right palm and you're reaching out to the fingertips as far as you can. Taking a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, reaching out to the corners of the room. So the right hand is coming towards the right corner, left foot towards the left corner. You're going to come back to your center. Exhaling out to the corners. Inhaling back to your center. And one last time, exhaling out to the corners. And releasing back to your center. Bringing that right palm, the left knee back down. And you're going to push back into your child's pose now. So you can either keep the knees apart or knees together. Keeping the arms stretched out in front and just drawing the forehead down to the earth. So just taking a couple of breaths here in your child's pose. And that length in the spine. And just allowing the whole of the upper body to rest down. So make sure the forehead's touching the mat. I'm not doing that because otherwise you won't hear me speak. So you're just pressing the forehead down into the ground. See if you can breathe a little deeper into the back body. And so our child's pose is our resting pose. At any point through the practice, if you want to take a rest, then you can just release down into your child's pose. Next inhale, you're going to begin to lift the forehead now and make your way back into your tabletop. So then a nice stable base with the hands, fingers are nice and spread, pressing into the finger pads, the corners of the hands. You're going to tuck the toes under and you're going to push the hips back and up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into our first downward facing dog. Maybe just beginning to pedal out through the feet, bending one knee at a time. Just warming up the calf muscles, the hamstrings. And then just coming to find some stillness now. So you're bringing that gaze back between the ankles, finding that length in the spine as you push the floor away. So see if you can draw the chest back towards the thighs, finding a little extra length in the spine. And then drawing those heels down towards the earth. Doesn't matter if they don't touch the floor, but just feel like you're drawing the heels down, finding that length at the back of the legs. And take a nice deep inhale through the nose and just sigh out through the mouth. One more like that, a nice deep inhale. Letting everything go on the exhale. Lovely. Now we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet. So you're coming into your forward fold. So feet are hip distance apart still. You've got a nice bend in the knees. And you're coming into your ragdoll position. So you can either take hold of the opposite elbows here, or you can just allow the backs of the hands to fall onto the floor. And you're just going to gently sway from side to side, just releasing the lower back. Maybe even nodding or shaking the head, just to make sure you're not holding any tension in the neck. The legs are doing all the work in this pose. And you're just switching off all the muscles in the upper body. And then just coming back to your center, beginning to find some stillness. And the next inhale, you're going to bring the hands onto the shins, coming into your half lift. So nice straight legs, find that length in the spine. You're pushing the sit bones out towards the back wall, crown of the head out towards the front wall. And as you exhale, releasing back down into your forward fold, knees bent, drawing the forehead towards the knees. As you inhale, you're going to bring fingertips all the way to sky, bringing your gaze between the thumbs, palms of the hands are facing towards each other. And just see if you can lift up out of the ankles, out of the hips. Bringing the palms of the hands together, exhaling down to heart center. We'll take 2 breaths here. So taking a nice deep inhale through the nose and just sighing out through the mouth. Another nice deep inhale. And letting everything go on the exhale. Lovely. Releasing the arms alongside the body now in your mountain pose, Tadasana. Planting through all 4 corners of the feet. Next inhale, we're going to bring fingertips back to sky, our gaze to the thumbs. Exhaling down into your forward fold, knees bent, bringing the forehead to the knees. Inhaling up into your half lift, finding that length in the spine. Exhaling back down into your forward fold. And then you're going to walk the hands on the floor, coming back into your downward facing dog. Just taking a moment just to find your alignment here. Sometimes people step their feet quite far back in downward facing dog. So just see if you can bring the feet in a little closer. And just drawing those heels down to the mat. And the next inhale, we're going to bring our gaze to the hands and just draw the shoulders forward over the wrists. So you're coming into your high plank. Any lower back issues or the hips are dipping like this, you're going to release the knees down into your half plank. Lovely. So you're pushing the floor away through the palms, lifting those shoulder blades towards the sky, drawing the navel into the spine. And as you exhale, you're going to push back into your downward facing dog. I'm going to lift that right heel to sky now, come into your 3-legged dog. You're going to bend the right knee, and you're going to bring that right foot between the hands. You're releasing that left knee down, the top of the left foot down. Just taking a moment to make sure you have that right knee stacked over the right ankle. So if that right foot hasn't come all the way through, just taking hold of the ankle and just bringing that right foot forward. Lovely. So keeping the hands or fingertips on the mat, Beginning to draw the chest now towards the front of the room. So finding that space in the chest. Maybe noticing how tight those hips might be feeling this morning. Seeing if you can breathe a little deeper into that space. The next inhale, you're going to bring fingertips to sky, drawing the arms alongside the ears. Palms of the hands are facing towards each other. We're going to bring the palms of the hands together and exhale down to heart center. So we're in our prayer hands now. Taking a nice deep inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to turn to our right. So we're challenging our balance a little bit today. And as we exhale, we're going to bring that left elbow just to rest above the right knee. And see if you can stack that right elbow above the left elbow. You're going to push into the left palm a little bit more, just so you can lift the upper body and a little bit more space in the torso. And you have the option to stay here, or you can tuck the toes under and release that left knee, coming into your high lunge twist. So just pushing out to the left heel. This is just an option, you don't have to come into it. Just honouring where your body's at today. And then releasing the left knee down. We're going to bring those prayer hands back to heart center. Inhale, fingertips back to sky. Exhale the hands down to the mat. And step back into your downward facing dog. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then we'll make our way through our slow vinyasa. So as we inhale, bringing our gaze to the hands as we draw the shoulders forward, over the wrists into your high plank. We're all going to release the knees down into our half plank. Bend the elbows, bring chin and chest down to the floor. And we're just coming up into our baby cobra. So just lifting the upper chest, drawing those elbows in close to the rib cage. And you're pressing the hip bones down into the floor. Tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. And then we're going to tuck the toes under and push back into our downward facing dog. So again, just taking a nice deep inhale through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. Next inhale, we're going to lift that left heel to sky. We're going to bend the left knee and float the left foot between the hands. So we're coming into our low lunge on the opposite side this time, releasing the right knee down, releasing the top of the right foot. Taking a moment just to check our alignment, the knee being over the ankle. And then staying on the hands and or the fingertips and just drawing the chest forward. So you're sliding those shoulder blades down the back, creating a little bit more space in the upper body. And just seeing if you can breathe a little deeper into the hips. This is quite a deep hip opener pose. And no matter how much yoga I do, I still feel like I have tight hips when I'm in this pose. So it's quite a deep pose. Lovely. The next inhale now. So you can bring the fingertips to sky, drawing the arms alongside the ears. And again, it can help if we just draw that left heel in towards the right knee. It helps us to engage the adductors and the inner thighs, just helping us with our stability. We're going to bring the palms of the hands together, down to heart center. And as we exhale, we're going to turn to our left this time. So we're pressing through all four corners of the palms. And then we're going to bring that right elbow down just above the left knee. And we're stacking that left elbow above the right elbow. So if you can press a little more into the right palm, just so you're getting that nice lift in the upper body, creating a little bit more space in our twist. Now you have the option to stay here, or you can tuck the toes under and release that right knee, pushing up into your high twist. So just making sure you're still breathing into the lower belly here. It's a little bit more challenging when we're in the twist. But actually really beneficial if we can take some nice deep belly breaths. A little bit more challenging to do that if you're in the high lunge. And then releasing that right knee down. Bringing prayer hands back to heart center. Inhaling fingertips to sky. Exhaling the hands down to the mat. We're going to tuck the toes under on the back foot and step that right foot forward. So you're coming back into your forward fold, this time at the top of your mat. Nice deep bend in the knees. Inhaling back up into your half lift. So find that length in the spine. Exhaling back down into your forward fold. We're going to inhale fingertips all the way to sky. Bring your gaze to the thumbs. Palms of the hands together. And exhaling down to heart center. And just taking 2 breaths here. So a nice deep inhale through the nose. And just sighing out through the mouth. Releasing the arms alongside the body, coming back into mountain pose. Taking a moment to ground through all 4 corners of the soles of the feet. On the next inhale, we're going to bring fingertips to sky, bringing your gaze to the thumbs. Exhaling down into your forward fold, knees bent. Inhaling up into your half lift. Exhaling back down into your forward fold. You're going to set that left foot to the back of the mat and windmill the arms up into your warrior 2. So that back foot can be either a 45-degree angle or it can be parallel to the back of your mat. So just noticing what feels best for your hips. It's a nice wide stance, deep bend in the right knee, and just checking that back arm is in line with the front arm. And then I want you to bring your gaze on the middle finger of the right hand. So we're just building a little bit of heat and strength in our warrior pose. We're going to bring both palms to sky. And as we inhale, we're going to straighten that right leg as we bring the palms of the hands together. We're going to exhale back out into our warrior 2. So palms face down, a nice deep bend in the right knee. And we'll do that 2 more times. So bringing palms to sky as we straighten the right leg. Exhaling back out into our warrior 2. Turning the palms to sky as we inhale, straighten the right leg. This time we're going to keep that right leg straight and we're going to exhale the arms down. So both legs are nice and straight now. Taking a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to reach out to those fingertips as far as you can. And then you're going to bring the back of the right hand onto the inside of the right shin. Bringing those left fingertips to sky. So coming into our triangle pose, Trikonasana. Any shoulder or neck issues, you might want to just drop that upper arm and bring the left hand to rest on the hip. So that's just an option. As you inhale, you're going to come all the way back to center, keeping both legs straight. You're going to bring that right palm up to the ceiling. And as you inhale, you're bringing the right fingertips up to the sky, bringing that left hand to rest on the back leg. So this is called our reverse triangle. As we exhale, we're going to bring the arms in line with the shoulders. One last time, coming into our classic triangle. As we reach out through those right fingertips, bringing the back of the right hand onto the inside of the right shin, and bringing left fingertips to sky. Just taking a couple of breaths deep into the belly. Lovely. And as we inhale, we're going to come back to our center. And I want you to turn the right foot in towards the left. You might have to change your camera angle here to see me, or just look over your shoulder. So just a nice wide stance here. So bringing the feet as far apart as you can. And I want you to bring the big toes facing in towards each other. So the heels are actually wider than the big toes. You're going to bring the hands onto the hips. And you're pressing that weight into all four corners of the feet. So we're coming to a forward fold. So as we exhale, we're going to begin to hinge at the hips. You're pushing those sit bones out towards the back wall, keeping that nice length in the spine. And then just allowing the crown of the head to come down towards the floor. And then releasing the hands down onto the mat. If the hands don't come all the way down, if you've got a cushion or a pillow handy, you can place the hands onto the cushion. And I want you to release the whole of the upper body like you did in your ragdoll. So just gently nodding or shaking the head, releasing the jaws. And bringing your gaze back between the legs. Maybe pressing a little bit more into the heels of the feet. The next inhale now, you're going to come into your half lift. So you can come up onto the fingertips, finding that length in the spine. And as you exhale, releasing back down into your forward fold. So bringing your gaze back between the legs. You're going to bring one hand at a time onto the hips. And as you press into the heels, keeping that nice length in the spine, you're going to come all the way back to your center. Taking a moment to pause at the top, taking that breath down into the belly. Lovely. So you're going to keep that right foot exactly where it is, and you're going to turn that left foot, the toes are pointing towards the back of the mat. This is the last thing you'll be doing facing away from the camera, sorry guys. And then we're going to inhale the arms up to shoulder height. So we're going to do the same thing on this side that we did on the other side. A nice deep bend in that left knee. And again, we're just checking that that back arm is in line with the front arm. Palms face down. We're going to bring the palms to face up now. And as we inhale, we're going to lengthen that left leg, bringing the palms of the hands together. As we exhale, coming down into our warrior two, a nice deep bend in the left knee, palms face down. We're going to bring palms to face up as we lengthen that left leg. Exhaling back down into our warrior two. One more time, we're going to bring palms to sky, lengthening that left leg. We're going to stay here this time. And we're going to exhale the arms down, but keep both legs straight. So bringing our gaze now on that middle finger of the left hand. Taking a nice deep inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to reach out through those fingertips as far as we can. And then bring the back of that left hand onto the inside of the left shin, right fingertips to sky. So back in our triangle pose. Again, any neck or shoulder issues, just releasing that right hand down onto the right hip. Taking a couple of nice deep belly breaths. And then inhaling all the way back up to center, keeping both legs straight. We're going to bring that left palm to sky. Float the left fingertips up and bringing that right hand onto the back leg. So back into our reverse triangle. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms back in line with the shoulders. One last time, coming into our classic triangle. As we exhale to reach out to the left fingertips. Bringing the back of that left hand onto the inside of the left shin. Right fingertips to sky. Now, traditionally, you should keep your gaze up to the right thumb. If that doesn't feel good for your neck, just keeping your gaze ahead. Lovely. Inhaling all the way back up. And this time you're going to turn that left foot in. So you're coming back into your wide-legged forward fold. You can bring the hands back onto the hips. Just making sure those heels are still wider than the big toes. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips, keeping that nice length in the spine. Coming back into our forward fold. Bringing the gaze back between the legs and just bringing the hands onto the floor. You're going to keep that left hand on the floor, but bring it so it's in line with the nose or the head. Pressing into that left palm, you're going to inhale, right fingertips to sky. So coming into a twist here. See if you can push the floor away with that left hand. Just coming into a little bit more of a spinal rotation. Lovely. You're going to exhale that right hand down. Place it where the left hand was. And inhale, left fingertips to sky. So we're pushing that floor away through the right palm. Keeping our connection with our breath. And then we're going to exhale that left hand down. Bringing the gaze back between the legs. And just bringing the hands back onto the hips. And the next inhale, pressing into the heels. Slowly beginning to lift your gaze. Coming all the way back up to center. And just taking a moment just to pause here. Just allow your body to get used to being upright again. Taking that breath down into the lower belly. And then we're just going to scissor the feet in towards each other. Lovely. And then coming back to stand at the top of your mat, so you're facing the camera again. So feet can be hip distance apart, or you can bring the big toes together. Small space between the heels. We're going to inhale, fingertips to sky, bringing our gaze to the thumbs. Exhaling down into our forward fold, knees bent. Inhaling up into our half lift, so find that length again in the spine. And exhaling back down into your forward fold. So you're going to set that left foot to the back of the mat now. And you're coming into your high lunge. So you're keeping that left heel lifted, a nice deep bend in the right knee. And then bringing fingertips to sky. So just working with our balance a little bit here. Now the next inhale, we're going to bring the palms of the hands together. Exhale down to heart center. And we're going to press into the right foot and lift the left knee. So we're coming into our balance pose here. So finding a drishti, a focus point to gaze at, just to help you with your balance. You're going to bring the right hand onto the left knee and then bring that left hand behind you. So coming into a balancing twist here. A little bit more challenging. Doesn't matter if you fall out of it, you just make your way back into the pose. Lovely. And you're going to come all the way back to center, keeping that left knee lifted. Bringing palms of the hands back together at heart center. And as you exhale, you're going to begin to hinge at the hips. So coming into your warrior three, you're going to bring that left foot back. See if you can bring that left leg parallel to the mat. Keeping a little bend in the right knee. Pushing out through the left heel. And as you exhale, you're going to release the hands down to the floor. And if you can bring the forehead towards the right knee. And as you exhale, bringing that left foot back down onto the mat. Releasing the left knee down. And inhaling fingertips to sky, coming back into your low lunge. Taking that breath back down to the belly. And as you exhale, releasing the hands down, you're going to step back into your downward facing dog. So you can either choose to rest in your down dog for a couple of breaths or come down into your child's pose, or you can make your way through your slow vinyasa with me. So the next inhale, bringing your gaze to the hands, drawing the shoulders forward over the wrists into your high plank, releasing the knees down. Bending the elbows, chin and chest down to the floor. Maybe come into your baby cobra or coming a little bit higher this time. Taking the breath down into the belly. And then tucking the toes under and pushing back into your downward facing dog. So just taking a couple of breaths here in your down dog or your child's pose. Just an opportunity just to check in with how you're feeling. Beginning to steady the breath. And the good news is we're going to do that standing sequence on the other side, and then we'll slow everything down. This time, we're going to make our way back into our downward facing dog. I'm going to lift that left heel to sky. Bend the left knee and float the left foot forward. So coming into our high lunge on this side, staying on the ball of the right foot, bringing fingertips to sky, back into our high lunge, pushing out through that right heel, bringing palms of the hands together and exhaling down to heart center. And the next inhale, we're going to push into that left foot and lift the right knee. So coming into our balancing pose, taking a moment to find your drishti, your gazing point. And then bringing the left hand onto the right knee and bringing that right hand behind. Coming into our balancing twist. Making sure we're still breathing in our balance pose. Lovely. We're going to come all the way back to center. Prayer hands to heart center. And as we exhale, beginning to hinge at the hips. Coming into our warrior three as we push out through that right heel. Bringing that right foot parallel to the earth. Pushing out through the right heel. We're going to release the hands down. See if we can draw that left forehead towards the left knee. So this makes us lift that back leg a little higher. And then we're going to release the right foot down. Release the right knee down. Inhale, fingertips to sky. And back into your low lunge. Taking that breath all the way down to the lower belly. Lovely. We're going to exhale the hands down and step back into your downward facing dog. And you can choose to rest in your down dog, your child's pose, or make your way through your final vinyasa. So just coming through your vinyasa in your own time, just enjoying the transition between the postures. And our vinyasa really is just an opportunity just to reset the spine. Pushing back into your down dog. Just taking any last stretches that feel good in your down dog. We'll take another nice deep inhale through the nose and just sigh out through the mouth. We're all going to release the knees down now. Keep the knees together this time. Coming into our child's pose. So just bringing the arms alongside the body and bringing the forehead down to the mat. So just allowing those shoulders just to fall away to the sides. Whole of the upper body growing nice and heavy. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Just beginning to find a steadier breath now. The next inhale, just slowly beginning to lift the forehead, coming back to sit on the heels. And we're going to slowly make our way down onto our back body. Just coming to lie on your backs. You're going to have the knees bent. And just bring the arms alongside the body, palms face down. So see if you can keep those feet hip distance apart. So you can imagine you've got a yoga block or a cork brick between the knees. And just allowing the whole of your back body now just to release down into the mat. Just relaxing the shoulders. Letting go of the upper back, middle back, lower back, the hips and the sacrum. We're going to come into a very gentle bridge. So what I want you to do is just begin to press into the soles of the feet and the palms of the hands. And you're just beginning to peel the tailbone, peeling the sacrum and the hips off the floor, and just lifting the hips up towards the sky. We're getting that gentle front body stretch, pushing out through the knees. Now just make sure that you keep your gaze on the ceiling or close the eyes. So just don't turn the neck to look at the screen for this. Just taking a couple of breaths here. As we exhale, very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, just beginning to release the back body down to the earth. The middle back first, then the lower back, and then the hips and the sacrum. So I'm going to come into two other versions of bridge. So what I want you to do is actually just take a look at me now so that you're not turning your neck when you're coming into the poses, okay? So I'll just demonstrate them first and then you can do them. So for the second one, we're going to come up in the same way. We're going to lift the hips up towards the sky, but this time we're going to tuck the shoulders underneath, interlace the fingers, and then push the hands into the ground. We're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. If you want to come into the third and final version then, what we're going to do is we're going to release the hands. We're going to come up onto the balls of the feet. We're going to bend the elbows, and we're going to bring the heel of the hands onto the hips. This is quite a deep back bend, so I want to demonstrate it first. You can see what it's like. You don't have to come into it. You want to increase that back bend a little bit more. You're going to release the heels down. Okay, so I'll talk you through both poses. If you want to stay in the first version of bridge that we did, then that's absolutely fine. So just doing what's right for your body. The main thing is that you don't look at the screen. I'm just going to talk you through the options now. So just coming to lie on your back body again. You're drawing the heels back so that you can almost touch the heels with the fingertips. And you're going to press into the soles of the feet and just begin to float the hips up towards the sky. So you'll find that length in the front body again. Now you have the option to stay here, or you can tuck the shoulders underneath, interlace the fingers, and press the edges of the hands into the mat. So you're getting a little bit more lift up through the hips here. Just taking a couple of breaths here, noticing how it feels in your body. Maybe this is enough for you today and you want to stay here. If you want to come into the final version of bridge with me, you're going to release the hands. You're going to come up onto the balls of the feet, so you're lifting the heels, bending the elbows, bringing the heel of the hand underneath the hips. Pausing here for a moment, noticing how that feels on your back body. If it doesn't feel good, then releasing the hands. Coming back down into the last version. If you want to come a little bit deeper, you can release those heels down onto the mat. Just staying here for a couple of breaths. In the last version with me, you're going to come back up onto the balls of the feet. You're going to release the hands, bring the arms and the palms of the hands back down onto the floor. Release the heels down. If you've got the fingers interlaced in the second option of the pose, releasing the hands. And all at the same time, now we're just going to begin to release the spine down onto the earth. Nice, gentle, slow movements. Just releasing the whole of that back body. Just taking a moment here just to allow the ground to take the weight of your body. And then we're going to bring the arms out so that they're in line with the shoulders in a cross shape, or you can come into your cactus arms, just bending the elbows. You're going to bring the feet and the knees together. Inhale the knees into the chest. And then you're going to exhale, just allow the knees to fall over to the left side of the room. Bring your gaze back to that right palm. Just allowing the legs and the feet just to completely relax onto the floor. If it feels nice, you can just gently close the eyes. So really important when we've been in a deep back bend like bridge is that we come into a twist afterwards just to help release the spine. And just taking a couple of nice deep breaths here. And the next inhale is going to bring the knees back to center. I'm just going to pause here for a moment, just allowing your spine to come back into a neutral position. And then we're going to exhale the knees over to the right side this time. Bring your gaze back to the left palm. And again, you can just gently close the eyes down. You're going to let go of your breath now. And the next inhale, just drawing the knees back to center. Just pausing here again for a moment. And you can bring the hands onto the knees, give the knees a nice hug into the chest. You might just want to gently rock from side to side just to ease out the lower back. And when you're ready, just releasing the feet back down onto the floor. Just lengthening out through the legs now, making yourselves nice and comfy and cozy for your final relaxation pose of Shavasana. Got a blanket nearby, you can just place a blanket over you. You can either have the arms lying out on the floor, backs of the hands resting on the floor, or you can bring the hands to rest on the belly. Just letting go of your practice now. Allowing the whole of your body to grow nice and heavy. Just releasing the soles of the feet and the heels. Relaxing the lower legs. Softening the thighs. Allowing the hips to grow nice and heavy, sink down into the earth. Releasing the lower back, middle back, upper back. Allowing the shoulders just to fall away to the sides. Bringing a little softness into the belly. Relaxing the rib cage. Softening the upper chest. Relaxing the throat. Releasing the jaws. Relaxing the eyes. Softening the forehead. Crown of the head. And the back of the head. Beginning to bring your awareness back to the room. Becoming aware of the outline of your body on the earth. Beginning to take some deeper breaths. Bringing some gentle movement back into the fingertips and toes. And maybe gently turning the head from left to right. Bring the arms up overhead into a full body stretch. And just beginning to bend the knees, bringing the soles of the feet onto the floor, giving the knees a nice hug into the chest. And just coming to lie on one side for a restful breath here. In your own time, just slowly making your way back to a seated position. We're going to bring the palms of the hands together at heart center. And we'll take 3 nice deep inhales through the nose and sigh out through the mouth. So a nice deep inhale. A nice deep inhale. And one last inhale. And just taking a moment to be grateful for our bodies and all that they do for us. And to be grateful for the practice of yoga and this connection that we have with each other through this practice. Thanking yourselves for showing up for your practice today. Namaste. So thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to those of you that kept your camera on. It makes me feel less lonely. I can see I'm teaching real people. And I loved that Taryn's dog, I think, made an appearance there at the start as well, which was nice. It's nice to include pets. There he is, fast asleep now, nice and zen. Yoga tends to have that effect on dogs. They seem to love to soak up the energy. Great, well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and I'll see you next Sunday for more yoga.
Perfect. And we'll have it on, the class will be online in about 20 minutes for anyone who wants to go online. I'm just going to, I think some people aren't in the WhatsApp group for notifications, so I'll just post the link down there if anyone wants to grab that. Cool. Thank you very much, Sarah. We'll chat to you next week. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.